Hello. Today we're going to be talking about the relationship between squares and square roots. And I'm going to actually lead into it with a square root. Hopefully we all know that the square root of 9 is 3 because we're looking for a number that multiplied by itself gives you 9. Well, 9 can be represented as 3 squared. And so I could write the 9 under the square root symbol as 3 squared, and then I'm square rooting it. Well, think what the solution is. This number, 3, times itself, or in other words, squared, gives me 9. So if I square root the 3 squared, the square root and the square are inverse functions of each other. That's their relationship. They're inverse functions of each other, which means they cancel each other out, and I'm left with 3. So if I gave you the square root of 7 squared, I would just get 7, because the square root and the square cancel each other out. And it doesn't matter which one comes first. In other words, if I gave you the square root of 13 in parentheses and then I squared it, this square and this square root undo each other and you get 13. So just be aware that when you're doing these assignments, they might try to confuse you in the sense of they might give you the square root of 25 squared. Well, everyone just glances and says, oh, square root of 25 is 5. But that's not 25, it's 25 squared. And so the square and the square root cancel, here actually gives you just 25. So don't accidentally square root the base if it has an exponent of 2 and it's underneath the square root. That actually makes this one make a little more obvious of why this one's true. Let's say I gave you the square root of, and let's keep it simple, 16 in parentheses squared. Well, we all know what the square root of 16 is. That's 4. And then we square it. Well, what's 4 squared? Well, that puts us right back to 16, right? So in other words, the square and the square root symbols are inverses of each other, and they will undo each other or cancel, leaving just the number underneath the square root or just the base number underneath the square root. Depending on whether the square is inside or outside, we're still left with just whatever that base number is. If you have any questions, please bring them to class.